The Silver Aeros are bringing the W13's final Aero upgrade package to the United States Grand Prix, Austin, Texas. In today's episode, let's discuss what those upgrades for Austin are and their impacts on the Mercedes car for the remainder of the season. But first, answer the question. Red Bull has breached the budget cap of the 2021 by a value of less than 5%, according to the FIA. What is the penalty you would recommend to be bestowed on Red Bull, according to the defined sporting regulations for a minor breach? Drop your ideas in the pinned comment at the comments section. Mercedes made mistakes at the Japanese GP as Lewis Hamilton spent a frustrating Sunday afternoon, stuck behind Esteban Ocon's Alpine when the race restarted after a lengthy rain delay. This left him fifth at the checkered flag, while George Russell finished eighth after losing time when Mercedes double-stacked its drivers when it was time to change from the wet to intermediate tires. Mercedes agreed with Russell's post-session claim that the decision was a mistake. The team also accepted that it probably went the wrong way on its car setup for the weekend. Russell and Hamilton were at the bottom of the speed trap figures during qualifying, with the former some 16 kph slower than the fastest in the speed trap. This led to Russell saying the circuit exposed the weaknesses of Mercedes' car and Hamilton's blunt post-race assessment of the straight-line speed. "I tried everything," Hamilton said after the race of his attempts to overtake Ocon. "Unfortunately, we're just incredibly slow this weekend. We were the slowest out of everyone, I think, on the straight. As soon as you pull out of the toe, I was just going nowhere." Chauvelin explained how Mercedes opted for the highest downforce level as it banked on the race being wet. "Part of that decision is that it was actually giving us our best lap times in the race condition, where we were going to get high degradation in the dry," Chauvelin said. "But we'd also seen this rain that was coming in on Sunday, and we felt that in a wet race that might be a benefit. Now, as it happened, the DRS was never enabled, which meant overtaking was very, very hard. Perhaps the right decision would have been to bias to a lower downforce setting, but fundamentally one of the things we need to improve on the car for next year is to get the car to have more downforce at the lower drag levels, and then we can race those lighter wings and still be competitive in the corners. Therefore, to reduce the W13's straight-line speed deficit without DRS, Mercedes is bringing the last of its Aero upgrade package to its car at the next Grand Prix at Austin." Mercedes has brought a raft of upgrades through the season as part of its attempts to turn the W13 from a car that struggled to lead the midfield to one that can challenge Red Bull and Ferrari on a regular basis. It has somewhat succeeded in that mission this season, with major upgrade packages like the ones introduced at Barcelona and Silverstone that mostly solved the initial porpoising and bouncing woes and allowed it to fight for pole positions and race wins on some tracks, although it has fallen short so far on both counts. But inconsistencies from track to track remain, with technical director Mike Elliott identifying a key mistake that was made in the development of the car that is still hurting its performance now. This mistake, which Elliott hasn't divulged the specifics of, cannot be fully remedied this year, as the team only spotted it at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix after porpoising issues clouded it. The team will debut the final aerodynamic upgrade of the season for the W13 in Austin. "It's our final step of Aero development, and that'll hopefully give us a bit more performance, but importantly with every step we're learning more and more, and that learning we can carry into next year," trackside engineering director Andrew Chauvelin said. "That's part of it. Also, there's a few bits where we have taken some weight out of components that will hopefully get the car closer to the weight limit. The Aero upgrade and the lightweight components can aid in chipping of some lap time to the front runners. When we see the chances Mercedes has of achieving a good result at Austin," Andrew Chauvelin said. "It's very difficult for us to predict where we're going to be. In Singapore, Lewis was awfully close to pole position, yet in Suzuka, both cars had a big gap to the front. Now our race pace has been reasonably strong, so if we can make a step, hopefully we can get into the fight with the Ferraris and the Red Bulls. But qualifying for us is the really difficult one to predict at the moment. But as I said, a lot of it is about learning, and we're certainly going to give it our best shot in the final 4 races." Chauvelin believes Mercedes struggled at a bumpy circuit of the Americas last season, with tire overheating issues in particular on the softer tires, contributing to Lewis Hamilton's defeat to Max Verstappen and Red Bull after a close fight for the victory. "They've done some resurfacing, so hopefully those issues with the bumps are a bit less," Chauvelin added. "But what's very hard this year is to really know where are you going to be on a circuit before you've gone there. A lot of it is about learning, but we're not going to make any predictions about how we're going to perform." We just need to go there on Friday, see what kind of issues we have, and see whether we can solve those with setup. The Austin track consists of tricky corners and 2 DRS zones. If Mercedes goes on with its high downforce setup, they can make gains at the corners and use DRS to make overtakes stick on the straights. So a non-wet race with DRS activated will help Mercedes to make some gains on the race day and take the fight to Red Bull and Ferrari. I do not believe Mercedes has a high chance of winning at any of the remaining 4 races, but if you have any differing argument, let us know what it is in the comments section below. Daniel Ricciardo just announced his future plans. Click the video link shown on your screen now to watch that video. And as always, thank you for watching this video, please subscribe, and I will catch you on the next episode.